In a quiet village nestled between green hills and silver streams, lived a humble farmer named Raghu. He wasn't a man of many possessions, just a small patch of land, a mud house with a thatched roof, and his 10 beloved cows. To most people, 10 cows might just be 10 animals, but to Raghu, they were his world, his friends, his family, and his livelihood. Each morning, before the sun even thought about climbing over the eastern hill, Raghu would wake up to the soft lowing of his cows. He'd step out into the misty dawn, the smell of wet earth and the sight of his cows waiting at the barn always bringing a smile to his face. He'd greet each one by name. Gauri Kamdenu, Lali, Sundari Dano, Kali, Gunga, Meena, Tara, and Champa. Each had her own personality. Gauri, the eldest, was gentle and wise. Lali was mischievous, always poking her nose into the feed bucket before her turn. And little Champa, the youngest, followed Raghu around like a playful child. He knew their moods just by looking at their eyes. He would begin his morning milking, humming an old village tune his father used to sing. The rhythm of his hands and the steady streams of milk hitting the metal bucket was a kind of music in itself. Once the milking was done, Raghu would carefully pour the fresh, warm milk into big brass containers and tie them to his old, creaky but loyal bicycle. Then began his daily journey through the narrow, dusty lanes of the village. The villagers knew Raghu's routine so well, they could set their clocks by it. At the first house, old Oma would wait at her door. "Eri Raghu beta, you're early today," she'd say. And Raghu, with a smile, would reply, "Amma, the cows woke up before the sun couldn't keep them waiting." He poured her a liter of milk, refusing to take more than what was fair. To him, honesty was a wealth greater than gold. Mid-morning Raghu had delivered milk to almost every home. Children would run behind his bicycle, laughing and calling out, "Raghu Kaka, save some milk for us too." He'd laugh and pretend to guard his milk cans, though he always saved a little for them. He wasn't just sharing milk, he was sharing warmth, trust, and the spirit of the village. After his deliveries, Raghu would rest under the old banyan tree near the pond, sharing his simple lunch of 2 rotis and some pickles. The cows, grazing nearby, would look up at him as if to say, "We're fine, Raghu. Eat your meal." He'd smile, appreciating the simple, peaceful life he led. No riches, no luxuries, but peace. And in that peace, there was joy. Every afternoon, he'd bring the cows back home, wash them, and talk to them about his day. "Lali, you should have seen how Gauri scared away that dog today." He'd laugh, and the cows would moo gently, as if they truly understood. If one fell sick, Raghu wouldn't sleep until she recovered, whispering, "Get well soon, my dear. The barn feels empty without your voice." Evenings came with a golden light, and Raghu would take his herd to the river for one last drink. The setting sun would paint the sky orange and pink, its reflection rippling in the water as the cows drank peacefully. Villagers passing by would wave and smile. "Raghu bhai, your cows look happy today." And he'd say proudly, "They're my family, how could they not be?" After dinner, Raghu would sit outside his home, watching the stars. He lived alone, and would sometimes feel a pinch of loneliness. But then he'd look at the cows resting in their shed, and that loneliness would fade. "Who needs company when I have 10 hearts that love me every day?" He'd murmur to himself, "Yer past." But Raghu grew older, his beard turned silver, and his hands became rougher. But his routine never changed. Even when his knees ached, he'd still wake up before dawn to greet his cows. He'd still ride that same bicycle, though it squeaked louder than before. And every evening, he'd still whisper, "Good night, my girls." One winter morning, the village didn't hear Raghu's bicycle bell. When they came looking, they found him sitting near the barn, leaning peacefully against the wall, a faint smile on his face. The cows were gathered close, quiet, and still, as if they understood. Raghu was gone, but his spirit lived on in that barn, in every drop of milk that nourished the village, and in every heart that remembered his kindness. Even today, when dawn breaks over that same hill, villagers say they can hear the faint sound of a bucket clinking and the low hum of an old tune carried by the wind. They smile and whisper, Raghu's still milking his cows. And somewhere beyond time, perhaps he really is still caring, still loving, still watching over his 10 beloved cows. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales that warm the soul.